This is Managing Mayhem.
Brought to you by two lawyers and a layman.
Because good intentions are not a legal defense.
Wait, I'm sorry, they're not? Okay, well, let's get going then. Hello and welcome to Managing Mayhem with Patty, Jeff, and Jack. What's going on, the two of you?
Well, today we're talking about workplace loneliness.
Right, and before we get started, I do want to mention this episode is SHRM approved, and you can get 0.25 credits, SHRM PDCs, and we'll give you the code at the end of the episode, so stay tuned.
Okay, so
Shermtastic.
back to loneliness.
As I was saying.
I don't want to go there.
Okay, so everyone has seen this in the news. The U.S. Surgeon General recently stated that loneliness creates the same health risks as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
And also, what happens if you're both? What if you're lonely and also smoking 15 cigarettes a day?
You're in trouble.
That's right.
No, but that is staggering to me. I mean, all those years, my parents, the fear of smoking and educating people on smoking, and loneliness has
Can do the same
health
damage.
risks.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, they also, on the WebMD that I searched for myself, said it could lead to strokes, heart disease, and depression. So
Right.
I'm feeling good. I'm on the floor.
And you're obviously, this has a major impact on the workplace in the employment law context, as most people spend their time at work.
That's right. Okay, so what is the workplace impact?
The statistics are shocking on absenteeism, lack of productivity, retention challenges, people are leaving. It's significant.
Right. As soon as I started seeing the articles about it and stuff, and there was this quote that loneliness is not just the absence of people, but the absence of connection. So it sounds like, especially in the workplace, you can be around so many people and not feel connected. You can, or not be around people and feel connected, but obviously we're struggling to have people feel connection with the people they're interacting with, whether it's virtual or in the office.
Right. And I mean, I have a psychology degree, but I am no expert in why. I mean, the question is, do we have some responsibility, whether morally or in a business, to say what solutions can we bring to this to improve and reduce loneliness in the workplace?
Jack, I like that quote that you found about not just the absence of people, the absence of connections, because I know a lot of people immediately are thinking, hey, it's the remote workers. Let's just bring them all back in. Right, get them in the office. And it's really not about just physical proximity if they're close by. It's not enough. Right, and managers, you have a duty, and HR, you have a duty to try and improve those connections with the resources you have. You can't control everyone, so you can only do your part to facilitate those connections.
Yeah,
Right.
I once went to a job interview for a law firm downtown Los Angeles, and it was huge, 5 floors this law firm had, and literally everyone looked so depressed, pale, and everyone I talked to was unhappy. And it didn't matter that they weren't working remotely. They were all in close physical proximity and miserable. So,
Right. I mean, how many jobs have all of us worked at where you feel like you're not close with, or not understood or seen by either your boss or your coworkers?
Right.
So what are some solutions or strategies that managers or supervisors or HR can take?
Yeah, I'm glad you said, when you said solutions, then you said strategies, because we actually can't solve, obviously, mental
Right.
health issues. We can only refer people out to employee assistance programs or give them leave of absences. But we can have strategies to engage people, to show them that we care and we're invested in them. First category I have is the potluck category. And I know you guys make fun of me. I'm always suggesting potlucks.
I have a great idea. Potluck.
Potluck.
Food and potluck are...
Part of that is because I don't cook.
I haven't finished the report. Let's do a potluck.
Potluck.
So
Team building potluck.
it's so awesome when you don't cook.
Truly, the leftovers.
Yeah.
But it's true, though. You do need the potluck. The potluck section is key because even if it is simple, you need things to bring people together, for sure.
Right. It's
Activities
all about
or
doing
food.
doing things together, whether it's eating, events like kickball, dodgeball, softball, intramural leagues, team building,
Right.
games. Nothing
Right.
is too cheesy to me in the
Right.
potluck category, whether, you have song contests, favorite song contests, dress up
Right.
like costumes for an event. I really think that you got to get past worrying about cheesiness and do the
Yes.
potluck category.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
Yes.
what, nothing brings a team together like the event I held at the public defender's office, which was a eating contest of the Taco Bell party packs, teams of two, 12 tacos between two players, two participants, and let's just say when we went to buy the tacos, we bought two of them, the boxes, and we told them, the Taco Bell employees, what we were doing. They're like, "Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you really?"
He said, absolutely. I know what I need.
And I'll
But
tell you
know
what.
Team building.
It was team building. And know who won? The intern, who was a high school wrestler. That
That's right.
kid could eat.
Could freak out on some Taco Bell.
He carried that team.
Yeah, I'm sure he carries the team at school too.
You know, what we're talking about is fun. Getting back to having fun.
Right.
It's okay,
Yeah.
it's okay to have fun. And
That's why I do
for
like the
people-
potluck category, because it is just stupid fun. It should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Except, and then the Taco Bell one's cool because then everyone also gets maybe everyone gets a day off work the next day. Because
Right.
it's a sick day. The second thing.
The next day or that afternoon.
Depending on I feel like as I've gotten older, I will need more days after Taco Bell. The other thing, someone brought up psychological safety. In an interview that we were doing for one of your training videos, and at first I was like, "What the hell is that?" But then when I was looking at it, and
that was the one where you surveyed people on the street and they said,
Yes.
what I want from a job is psychological safety. Yeah.
I always thought it sounded so intense, but then I was looking at it and I was like, really, it's that you are creating a space where people feel that they can make mistakes, that they feel like contributions are appreciated, even if they're not the perfect contribution. So I think you can start. What it seems like people start with is just demonstrating concern for team members, just checking in, whether that's one-on-one.
Right.
That means a lot to people just to check in like that. And I think for really what it looks like is it's a lot more of like allowing participation space for people to make mistakes, so they feel like they can open up and they feel like they can express themselves. And once you learn about what someone thinks about a project or someone thinks about X, Y, or Z, people just start to connect. And so you can't force those connections.
Yeah. Safe space.
Exactly, a space where people feel like they can speak up and
Right.
just suspend judgments on a brainstorm session. Not every solution is going to be your final solution. Let people be creative and work together, and I think that's just like, it sounded like a really good way to just foster that kind of environment.
Right. And this section
I'm crying. I love it.
I'm moved.
I'm weeping openly.
But no, but this
I've never cried so hard.
but this section does take more work on the manager side as far as active listening, allowing people to talk, not being as rushed. It's more of a teacher approach, really.
Yes.
It's kind of, you want to create that safe space so that people do participate and they feel comfortable to bring their ideas to you into the group.
And it requires a sense of self-awareness for that manager to know that they are setting the behavioral tone for their entire staff, which actually is a huge part of a manager's job.
Absolutely.
Have you guys ever worked at a job, I think we all have, where you feel really invalidated or shut down because someone comes in and it's this dictatorial, personality or narcissistic, and there is that loneliness in the workplace, like they don't care what my opinion is.
Or they think I'm stupid.
Right.
Or they make me feel stupid in front of everyone else, therefore I'm not going to talk. I don't want to say anything.
They're always looking for something to criticize,
Right.
to make you kind of put you in your place. So I like that. I do think suspending judgment and really holding, letting people just be free to throw things out there when you're brainstorming. I like that, Jack. I think that's
Because
good.
once people start to shut down, there's just no opportunity for connection at all.
Right.
And if you create an environment that is closed off like that, then I think that you're just going to have more issues with it.
One last thing on that point is that when you said the one-on-one check-ins, be a human. As a manager, realize they are humans. It's not all about emails and texting.
Productivity.
It is about actually of a natural human connection with someone where you say, how was your weekend? How are you? How are you feeling today? Where it's definitely more behavioral. Lean into that a little bit.
And you're setting the tone, which is what I liked about it. Because it's, again, you can't solve it.
Right.
But you can do something to help people feel as though they're valued and they want to connect.
The other area that a company can really work on is setting boundaries and promoting that work-life balance. and respecting the work-life balance of your employees. I know that's an area that we've talked a lot about.
Yeah.
Right, Jeff. And I don't think it's just setting boundaries for your employees. It's setting boundaries for you not to bug them, right?
Yes. Right. I mean, there's this, I saw one idea is just having email blackout periods where no emails are allowed between
Such a good idea.
8 at night to 8 in the morning, just to try and promote that work-life balance.
A lot of people think that this loneliness epidemic is because of the pandemic and people going to work remotely. But Jeff, you had some numbers on that. It really hasn't markedly changed. The loneliness isn't because solely of the pandemic.
It was only 5% increase since
Right.
the pandemic.
Is that
and
what it
that's
was?
really not that much higher.
Right. And so I do think that it is prudent to reevaluate remote work and whether it's working for the morale of your organization. Whether you want to stick with that because it works for cost purposes and people are very efficient and people like it, that's great. Some companies have now gone to hybrid work, so they do have some collaboration in the office. What are you guys seeing in that regard?
I see the flexible work schedules. Most companies I see are moving to that in lieu of just straight remote work. And I think it's a great option if you can do it.
Right.
There is a balance. I'm not saying you got to pull them all in, like I said at the beginning, but I think a lot of people have gotten really used to just sending emails or text or being on social media, but there's something different about interacting with people on the phone or on Zoom, face-to-face in conversations versus just emails and text. And that, I think, leads to a lot of this isolation. It's kind of self-inflicted a little bit.
I think we've gotten very comfortable in those digital arenas. And so people often avoid making it. It's more work, or it feels maybe like more work because of the technology to connect with someone person to person. So I just think we're doing it less.
And I'll tell you what, it was a lot of work for me in high school when I had to call a girl because we didn't have texting, and I wrote out a full script.
That's right.
Of what I was going to say, a couple scenarios. I mean, okay, you can add, my friends still give me a hard time about it to this day.
What was the saying when you wanted to ask that girl to the prom? And it was like, this may be a little bit cheesy and a little bit late, but will you be my homecoming date?
That was cute. And it was a pizza.
Cheese pizza.
It was, it was a Domino's pizza. And then she responded with one in the pepperoni, said yes. So, you know what? That communication worked.
I gave my friend Tanya, I asked her to prom with a Build-A-Bear ape.
Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, coming back. Build-A-Bear ape, and it said, I am going to go ape shit if you don't go to prom with me.
It was like the recording in it? Or is that
I recorded it. Yeah.
It makes me very sad and concerned to see that the U.S. Surgeon General is that alarmed to bring this up about loneliness and mental health. Is a huge issue in our society, and also it clearly impacts physical health as well.
Right.
And so, we need to take this very seriously and be reaching out and caring about employees and having that connection with them that's meaningful, not reading from a little card like, how is your children, what are their names, but really meaningful connections.
And it's also do your part to not just try to connect yourself, but promote connection in the environment.
You want people to want to come to work, right?
Yeah.
And when they want to come to work, they're going to be more productive. They're going to be happy. You don't want them to
just leave a pack of cigarettes on everyone's desk.
Right. little bindles like in jail.
Oh my God.
Well, guys, not a light topic, but something that obviously if people can be proactive, it's beneficial and it helps everybody. So thank you guys for joining us to discuss that today.
Yeah.
No, thanks for listening. And as we mentioned, this episode is approved for 0.25 SHRM PDCs. So the SHRM code is 24Z9P9N. So enter that in and you'll get credit.
Have a great mayhem-free week.
Can't think of a Sherm pun.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Managing Mayhem is presented by Management Northwest and Management Southwest and cannot be copied or rebroadcast without prior written consent. By listening to this podcast, you understand that we, or at least two of us, are lawyers, but we are not your lawyers. Therefore, nothing we say on the podcast should be taken as legal advice or considered to create an attorney-client relationship. It is solely